Hi viewers, welcome to our channel JJ Live Learning. Today concept is install and configuration of Active Directory on Windows Server 2016. Agenda of today concept is install and configuration of Active Directory, DNS configuration, user creation on AD and user credential. Before configuring the Active Directory, you need to follow this process. First we have to assign the computer name for your server. So we giving the server name is MyDZ. Now we have to assign the IP address for your server. Go to the network adapter. For your IP position 4, you have to assign the IP address as 172.16.1.20. After assigning the IP address, you have to disable your firewall. So these 3 steps you have to be followed mandatory before configuring the server. Are you understand? So then only we have to configure your DC. So after turn off your firewall, you have to go to your server manager. On this server manager only we have to install the ADDS service. So now you can see this thing. Just go to the server manager, give nest. It will be on role based. It shows your computer name and IP address. We set it before. Now select the ADDS service. In roles and features, everything should be default. Now install the service. Now ADDS will be installed successfully. Now we have to configure your DC. In your DC configuration, you have to select the new domain. But before that, I have to explain about the 2 things. There are 2 options is there. The first option will be used for backup domain controller. The second option will be used to create a child domain and existing tree. When you using these 2 options, you need the existing domain. Already we need a parent domain. Without parent domain, we should not use those 2 options. So now we are creating a new domain, is apple.com. So domain name is set now. Give nest. Now we come to the next part, that is functional level. So what is the functional level we are setting on your forest? That same functional level should be assigned on your domain functional level also. If you are giving the lower functional level, your domain functional level should be lower end only. And your domain controller should be as the first domain controller. So it's a global catalog server and the DNS will be configured automatically. Now we are assigning the DSRM password, directory service restore mode administrator password we are assigning for your system. It helps to backup and restore of your AD. So you have to delegate your DNS. Now your domain name will be registered on your NetBIOS. For older edition, through the NetBIOS only it will be accepted to reach your domain. This is the default database entries will be present for your server. Now the server configuration will be done in a proper manner. Now we are giving the installation part. You check the compatibility and then it will be configure your DC. Now you know how to configure your DC, but we are still not completed your DC configuration in a proper manner. We have to do some following steps. Restart your DC. Now you have to log in on your domain administrator account, that is apple/administrator. So just go to your network adapter. On this network adapter, your preferred DNS will be changed as a loopback. So remove your loopback address and type your server IP address on your preferred DNS. Once that over, you check your FISMA roles. Just go to the command prompt and type the command to check your FSMO roles of your AD. You can give your FSMO command on two methods which is shown on your display. There will be 5 roles will be present. One is schema master, domain naming master, PTC emulator, relative identifier and infrastructure master. This is the 5 roles will be present on your FISMA roles. So now you are checking the FSMO roles. All roles will be present on your FQDN of the DC. So you configure your server in a proper manner. Now you have to check your DNS by giving the command nslookup. When you're giving the nslookup, it shows the error, that is request timeout. If it shows like that, the DNS configuration will be not configured in a proper manner. So we have to configure DNS in a proper manner. So just go to the DNS management. In your DNS management, there will be 2 zones. One is forward local zone, another one is reverse local zone. Your forward local zone will be configured automatically while configuring your DC, and all resource record will be updated on your forward local zone. Still, the reverse local zone will be pending. So we have to configure your reverse local zone, give a primary zone, and configure your DNS record. We are assigning the DNS. Select your IP version 4, give your network ID of your DC, the IP is registered on your server, and you have to allow the both secured and dynamic updates. If you make any machine will be client, that updation will be automatically updated to your DNS record. So you have to select allow both secured and dynamic updates. Now again you are checking your DNS by giving the command nslookup. Still there will be another issue will be there, that will be showing as unknown on your default name server. So the naming will be missing on your DNS record. In your forward local zone your entry will be present, but in reverse local zone your server entry will not be updated. So you have to do the server domain name by manually. So no records is be stored there. So go to the forward local zone, select your computer name of your server. You have to select the update pointer. So once you enable that thing, the resource record will be updated to your reverse local zone. IP to name conversion will be registered. Now you configure your domain controller as well as DNS in a proper manner. Now we successfully completed your DC configuration. Now you can check your DNS. It shows the entries of your server. For that server, your IP will be registered in a proper manner. Your name to IP and IP conversion we are checking here. Everything is fine and good. Now we are going to see the user management, that is user creation on the server. How we are going to create a user account on your server? Give the command dsa.msc, that is this domain system account .microsoft console. You can create a user account on the users console. Just go to the user and create a new user. For example, we are creating a user as Jana. While creating a user, we can make some credential, whether the user can change the password or not. If the user want to change the password, you can leave by default. If you want the user should not change the password, means just remove the tick on the thing, and you have to enable another 2 options, that is second and third option. User cannot change the password, the password never expires. By default 42 days the password will be expired, so it should not expire for the user, so you have to enable that thing. Like that you can create a user account on another way of method, that is you can create a OU. OU is nothing but organization unit. We can create a departments. For the departments you can create a user or you can move a user for the specific department. This OU will be used to creating a group policies. If you want to set your policies for the individual user, it is not possible. You can set your policy only for the OU. That policy will be applicable to the end users. So in real time, all the users will be created on the OU only. So now we are creating a OU. That is my office is one of the OU. On that my office, we are creating sub OUs on a department wise, like HR, marketing and sales. Like that we are creating. So first we are creating as a HR is one of the OU. And we are creating the user marketing. So we are adding a user on the HR. If you want to apply any policy to the specific user, it is not at all possible. Any restrictions or allow or deny functionality if you want to give for the specific user means it is not at all possible. We have to give the policy control only to the OU. As like saying, we can move the users from the user console to OU. So we are creating the user Jana on the user console. From the user console, we are moving the user to the respective OU. So we are moving that Jana user to the marketing department. So we can easily identify who are the users will be present on which departments. It is used to identify the users on the department wise. Not only on that thing, for setting the group policy also. Now we are going to join all the workstation machines for your domain controller as a client. So now go to the client side. In this client side also we need to follow 3 steps. One is assigning the computer name for your client PC. We assign the computer name. Then we have to assign the IP address for your client machine. What is the network ID you are given for your server? That same network should be present on your client also. But one important thing, you have to assign the server IP address which is set on your client machine as a DNS IP address. If you are not setting the preferred DNS of your server IP, it is not possible to join this machine as a client for your domain. So note it, very important. Once assigned the IP address, you can check the communicate between client and the server through the command ping. The third important thing is disable your firewall. So what we followed on the server, that same steps you have to follow on your client side also. Now we are restarting the computer because we are changing your computer name. Now log into your workstation. After completion that 3 steps, now we are going to make that machine as a client. So your computer name is floor 1 PC01. go to the My Computer, right click properties and go to the domain option and give your apple.com. We are joining this PC as a client for your server apple.com. Once you give the apple.com on the more option, your system registry will be updated to your DNS of your server. At present, the client entries will not be updated because still we not completed your client configuration. In your DNS, no resource record will be updated. That is, client resource record will not be updated on your server, on your DNS part. Once you make the client, by getting the credential, we have to give the server authentication. Now the system will be added as a client for your DC apple.com. Now it will be joined. You have to restart your workstation. Once it will be restarted, this machine will be added as a client for your server. Now we are going to log into the user which is created on the server. That is, we are logging on to the Jana, which is user is created on the DC. Now we are logging on to the client user Jana. Now come to the DNS on your server. Now your client entry will be updated on your server. You can see here, automatically it will be updated. In your network structure, how many users, how many systems you are connected, all the system entry will be updated on here. Now we are going to see another important concept. The final concept is logon credential. So in your logon credential, there will be two options. One is logon to, another one is logon hours. Logon to will be used for give a credential to the end users. The user can log in on which system he can log in. So you can give the specific computer name, or you can assign the specific IP address of your workstation which is connected on your client. You have to give the client IP address. That IP only the system will be login, that is end user will be login. If you give all computers, means the user can log in on all the end systems. For example, 50 systems will be added as a client, means on all the systems the user can log in. It's not a secure one. So we are specifying the particular PC you have to log in. So we are setting the logon credential for the user. This user can log in on the specific computer only. Previously the Jana is logged in on the system. Now he is trying to log in on this PC. You can see the output. He can't log in onto this machine because we set the credential. He had to log in onto the particular PC or particular IP address. So the user can't log in onto this PC. He have to log in to the another computer. Now we are giving the full credential to the user. Can log in on all the PCs. We are moving to the next part, that is logon hours. So by giving the credential, the user can log in now. So now we can see the logon hours. Logon hours is nothing but the user can log in on which time, on which day and which time will be given to the end user to log in on his system. There will be two options there. One is permit and deny. So you can just drag it the timing which is. So we have to select the option logon denied or logon allowed. So 12 AM to 2 PM we are login denied to the end user. If the user will be login on that specific time, he or she can't log in. The login will be denied. It will be shows as a time restrictions. I hope you understand the video. Kindly subscribe our channel.